Good morning, everyone. I'm Cadet Captain Anthony Perez, and today we are going to be taking a look at Packet Tracer. So, a few of you may be wondering why we are moving to networking as opposed to Linux. Long story short, I erased the Linux VM that I had all set up for the Linux module. So, while I am recreating that and re-uploading that, we're just going to be doing the first couple networking lessons as to minimize our downtime. So what is Packet Tracer? Packet Tracer is Cisco's practice environment. And if you don't know what Cisco is one of, if not the industry leader when it comes to networking and networking equipment. And what Packet Tracer does, it allows you to virtualize a lot of their networking devices and many of their networking devices capabilities, although it does have many limitations, such as you can't virtualize any of their enterprise equipment because they want you to buy that, and that's very, very expensive. So, for the things, I also forgot to mention that you can't virtualize anything that's not Cisco. So you couldn't put a Dell switch in there or a HP router. It's just not how it works. It's Cisco software. So once you find something, you can set it up, you can configure it, and you can connect to it. Pretty similar to real life. So it gets you a lot of that hands-on experience without actually having to buy or find that hardware in real life. So how do you get access to Packet Tracer? Just click on this link. That will bring you to the website. And this is the Introduction to Packet Tracer course. It'll get you access to Packet Tracer. So you just sign up today, and then English or whatever other language you want. You click that, you fill in all the information. Once you're done with that, it'll bring you to this page. Once you get to this page, this is actually the course that you signed up for. If you want to go through that, you can. It shows you how to use Packet Tracer. It doesn't show you anything networking related. If you want to do that, go for it. More power to you. So once you're on this page, you just scroll the way down. Packet Tracer, usually middle here. Click on that, and either Windows, Linux, or Mac, whatever OS you're running. I already have it downloaded and installed. So once you've downloaded and installed it, just open it up, and usually it will ask you to log in, and the credentials you use for that is the same credentials for the Net Academy account that you created. And this is Packet Tracer. So just moving to the main elements of the UI, you have this top little corner. You can save, open, or rather create a new file, open a file, save a file, print if you are into that. Networking information, so you can add a little description. I don't know, test net. Great. You can set a user profile. This is important for Cyber Patriot, so just be sure to set the user profile. It doesn't look like that. That's just a glitch. Yeah, be sure to set the user profile to what it tells you to. You can use the activity wizard to set this as the answer network. This is for tests and whatnot. Copy, paste, undo, redo, zoom in, reset, zoom, zoom out, viewport, workspace, command, cluster associations. You don't have to deal with most of those. They should know most of these. And then these tools, you can select things. That one can magnify. Should be able to magnify. I guess that's broken too. The Linux version doesn't have everything quite sorted out. You can delete things, so if I have thing there, I can just delete it. And you can resize things, so you can make this bigger, or you can make it smaller. You can add a note, so like IP. Yes, that is a valid IP. You can add notes. You can make lines that aren't squares. You can make lines that are rectangles, circles, and make whatever the heck this is. I just built the internet. You can add PDUs, which probably if you're taking this course you don't know what those are yet, so you don't need to concern yourself with those. So moving down, we have our devices. So we have our networking devices. So you got routers, switches, hubs, wireless devices, security, and WAN emulation. You're probably not going to know what any of those are. Just know that this is where you get at them. And you just click on things. That'll change. And if you want something, you just click on it, drag it up. Yeah. The reason that the text doesn't show up is just the workspace theme that I'm using in Linux. So that's actually readable. At least I believe it is. I just have a weird theme or a dark theme, and Packtracer isn't playing very nice with it. And then you have your end devices. So you got your typical end devices. You got PCs, you got your laptops, got your servers, got your phones, got all that good stuff. Then you got all of this IoT stuff. So you could build a fully decked out smart home or even smart city in Packtracer. And you can get a pretty good feel for how IoT operates, or at least how it generally operates, because Cisco's implementation is very simplistic, but it also kind of has to be, because that's not the point. The point is to learn the not working devices. Then you got a bunch more IoT and more IoT. Then you got components, even more IoT, or actually that'd probably be IoE, everything. You got all the connectors that you would ever want or ever need. You got structured cabling. Never used it. Got some miscellaneous multi-user connect. Moving on. Oh, I forgot to address this little thing here. So logical is how everything relates to it. So you could kind of see it as a network diagram, but physical is how it actually ends up relating to each other in meat space, real life. So you can go here and you see we have our little dry city area here, and we have our city, which is right there. And then in our little city, we have our office, which is right there. And we have this little server closet, and we have this computer, which is over there. This computer is, I don't know, in the hallway. Great. Then we have our server closet, so it'll actually show how things physically relate to each other. So if you're building an actual project and you're using Packtracer to plan it all out, this is really actually quite helpful. And if you wanted to, you could add building, a couple of them. Yeah, that's physical, and you can add networking closets here, add whatever there, and then they'll just show up in your logical view. If you delete those, delete, delete, and they disappear in the physical. I also forgot to mention what these do. That selects things, so you can select things and move things. That theoretically does inspect, but in reality doesn't work too well in Linux. Then you have your delete thing. So if you have something that you don't want, you just delete it, and then to escape from that, you just click escape. And resize. So if you want to resize something, do that. Your note. So if you have an IP that you want to remember, or any other tidbit of information, and have that. Then have our I don't know why it's not letting me use those right now, but that's our line. So you can make a line like that. That's rectangles, rectangle, and that's the weird freeform thing that I made this cloud with. And these are simple and complex PDUs. Probably don't know what those are, and that's completely fine. That's well out of the scope. Definitely of this lesson. Now, if we move down to real time and simulation, real time, the networking just does what the network does, and it doesn't show you what's happening. But simulation, you can actually see what's happening. It'll show you all the packets that are going through the network. And if you click on it, it'll show you all the information. And also, the fact that you can't read this text is, again, because Packet Tracer doesn't play nicely with my workspace theme. So usually you can read it just fine. So it'll show you all the inbound and outbound layers. It'll show you the actual packet once it's broken down to all its little sections. So this is really helpful when it comes to troubleshooting something, especially once you learn what you should see and what you should not see. And that makes simulation really handy. And real time just gets rid of all that, does it in real time, because simulation makes everything really slow, even if you crank that up and just keep going. It makes everything really, really slow. If you try and do a ping, it'll take ages with simulation. Even just to do the 4 pings, you have to like keep spamming this forever in order to just get a ping done. But yeah, so real time goes much faster, simulation goes slower, but you can actually see what's happening. Moving on, we have end device config. So if we want our laptop over here, first one is physical. And something that, or at least something to note with Packet Tracer, is if you want to make a modification to it. So let's say you want to add some switching ports to this router. If you just try and add it, it'll scream at you, says no, you cannot add the module while it's turned on. So you have to find the power switch. You have to click the power switch and actually turn the thing off. And then add the thing, then turn the thing back on. And that's the same with any of the equipment. So you have our physical view, you have the power button so you can turn it off, turn it back on, or add whatever you want to. And these little things are the options that you can add. So if I wanted to add, I don't know, if I wanted to add optical for some reason, I'd have to turn it off, take that out, put that in, back on. Wanted to add Ethernet again, not RJ11. Ethernet, then I just turn it off, that out, that in, back on. Then we have the config, and I'd recommend using this as sparingly as possible, as it can get really easy to just do everything in the config, and then once you go to okay, you can't. Once you go into the real world, you don't have anything like this, so it's just good to get in the habit of using the desktop, which is actually like a desktop. You know, you have your IP config, you have a web browser, you have your little simulated Windows command line, so you can think things this isn't going to work, but you get the picture. You can do all that fun stuff. And then something that you can do with a lot of the end devices is you can actually add programs, like actual programs. So you can do JavaScript, Python, Visual Basic, and yeah, that's mainly what you can do. And it has a bunch of pre-made scripts, although you can add your own if you wanted to. And then attributes, so it'll give you the cost, power source, how many rack units it takes, and how much wattage it uses. And you can edit this. That way you know approximately how much a given project is going to cost, how many rack units it's going to use, etc., etc. And then moving on to intermediary device config. It's fairly similar. You have your physical config, and it'll show everything. It doesn't show wires connected like the actual physical does, but it'll show you the device. And you can zoom in if you want to. I don't think, yeah, that button. But then you can go to config. Once again, use this as little as possible, as there's no real world equivalent to it. Then you have the CLI. This is where you can actually do things. Like, I don't know. Just do whatever. And also, if you try and copy and paste, it doesn't work very well because Control C is actually a hotkey to escape. So instead, you either have to use the copy paste or you have to right click copy. Paste works fine, or it doesn't. It worked in Windows when I tried it, but you copy, paste. There's that, and then attributes, all this good stuff. And if I look over at my notes, this looks to be everything. So this was our review of Packet Treasure. Did I hit everything? Devices, logical, real time, yeah, device. Yeah. So this is the Packet Treasure overview. I hope you learned something from this lesson. I hope to see you in the next lesson.